Hello everybody, how are you doing? I'm out in the shop just for a few minutes. I've got some other things I've got to do, but I did make a commitment. This is a pin, and you can see it's kind of tapered a little bit. And what these are for, my son is in the show choir, and they have a backdrop, and I want to call it scaffolding. Nobody walks out or anything. It's only about 12 inches wide, but it's behind the stage, and they use it for hanging lights and different things, different props that they'll use in the performance. And these little pins go through each section, and there's a cotter key that gets slid through that little hole to hold it in place. But what happens is I'm on the crew that does the background stuff, and we're building the background props, etc. And the plan is to take this, I'm gonna call it scaffolding because I don't know the technical term for it, out and take the two legs out and drop them on the stage. We'll have a string between them so they get dropped at the right distance from one another. And then we'll set the top part on them, which is like a big half of a square, set on the legs. We don't really have time to poke those pins in and drop a key into them because you only have so much time to do your performance. So what I'm going to do is I bought some hitch pins about the same size. These are if you look at this tapered piece, the back of it is about the same diameter, 1/4 inch, as this hitch pin, and the front is a smaller diameter. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the entire hitch pin down to the front diameter, and then I'll taper the end of it. That way, the taper will help it go in through the hole to hold the two pieces of pipe together. And being that it's the size of the front of the tapered pin, it should slide in very easily. Now, nobody is hanging on this. Nobody is lifting this. It's just in the background holding the lights. We just have to have a pin in it for safety. So what we'll do is we'll take some paracord, and they have a loop on the hitch pin. We'll tie the paracord to that, and it can hang from the top piece. And as soon as we set it onto the legs, we grab this. We should be able to easily slide it in the hole. It's 3 inches long versus about 1.5 inches. So it's not moving around. It's just sitting there. That should give us enough security to where we'll be able to put it together, slide the pin in. The thing is locked, it's safe, it's ready to go. We can go off stage, they can do their performance. We can run out, grab the ring on the end of it, yank it out, let it go because it's on paracord, and haul it off stage. So that's the hope. And what I'm going to do today, that's a long explanation, but I don't know how else to explain it. Today I'm going to turn one of them down, maybe two, and then take them in Monday night. I go back in, and we're going to work on the background a little more Monday night, and we'll test them, see how they work. I may have to modify them. I'll see what the other folks who are working on this think. Does everybody feel like it's going to be safe and it's what we need? So that's what I'm going to work on today. I do have a couple of things that I want to show you. So let me get the camera on a tripod, and I'll flip it around, and we'll talk. If you follow this channel at all, you've heard the name Thomas Tate before. Now, Thomas's company is Pens by Thomas Tate, and he is working to develop his own line of pens, kitless pens that he makes. And here is one of his first ones. This is the Titan MK1. Take a look at that. It's all aluminum. Cap is postable on the back, or threads onto the back of the pen. And there you have it. Take a look at that. Isn't that a nice looking pen? Thank you, Thomas. I really appreciate this. I have a very special package here from Richard Hill, and I want to show you. Hopefully I don't spill these everywhere. It is a complete set of gears for my Atlas Craftsman lathe. Now, I have a set of gears that were printed for me a while back by another viewer, and I'm so thankful to that person for making them for me. But once I received them, what I learned was they actually fit the Atlas model one down from mine. So they didn't fit the lathe. I got online, another viewer contacted me and said, hey, here's a set of gears that are available online, and I went online and I purchased them, and they turned out to be for the Atlas Craftsman model one up from mine. So neither one of those sets of gears will fit my lathe. One is too large and one is too small. So I've had a little run of bad luck. Richard sent me this set of gears, and look at this. See the keys on that, or the splines on that gear? See the holes right there? Watch this. Perfect fit. These gears are exactly the right size for my lathe. So now I truly can gear my lathe up or down and control the screw at whatever speed I need it to run at for the project I'm working on. Richard, thank you so much. I am super happy to have these, and I hope to get back into my shop on a more regular basis and get a chance to play with this lathe, because the more I think about what I can do with it, the more excited I get, and you just opened up a whole lot of possibilities with this complete set of gears. So thank you, Richard. I truly appreciate you making these and sending them to me. Here's one of the original locking pins for the scaffolding. And if we take a look at the end that inserts into the scaffolding, it looks like it's about 5.18 millimeters. And if we look at the other end, it's about 7.06. So you can see there's quite a bit of taper there. And especially at the end, there's a little extra taper to help you get it started into the hole on the scaffolding. And what I want to do is taper the entire thing down somewhere around 5.72 to 5.18 millimeters. The hitch pin I'm starting with is right at 6.34 millimeters. And you'll notice it has a ball bearing in it. I'm not too worried about that. I'm expecting that to probably pop out, and that's okay. It's plenty long enough. And what I'll do is I'll cut this off or part it off just behind the ball bearing, and then we'll taper it even a little bit more than the end of this pin so that I've got a nice easy start into the scaffolding. So let me get a face shield on and we'll start turning. That's about 602, and we are still at about 502, so we're about a millimeter. We need to take about a millimeter more off of this. Now, I chose this pin, this hitch pin, because it was steel. So I'm taking my time, turning very slowly. Don't have to get in much of a hurry. Once I get the front section of the pin turned down, I'll extend it a little farther and turn another little section. I'm trying to just turn a small area at a time. I think I've got this turned down about where I want it. The ball bearing did eventually come out of the end of it. Now you notice there's an awful lot of material sticking out from the end of the chuck. I want you to know that I didn't turn it like this. I had a little bit of material sticking out. I turned a bit, and then I extended it, turned a bit, extended it, turned a bit. So I always had nice support on the area that I was turning with the collet chuck. If I take a look at the end of it, well, you can see I got a sharp taper there to get it started nice and easy. But if I go past that taper, well, I guess I should turn my calipers on first, and we'll zero them out. So if we go right here at the end, that is 4.26. The very end of this is 5.12, so it's going to be real easy to get started. If you come back to the very back of my hitch pin, and this part on the back is still, they call these 1/4-inch hitch pins. I have not turned it down. I did hit it with a little steel wool to kind of clean it up and make it smooth. It's 6.41. If I take this pin, I drop it down through here, right there I hit, and if I start moving, that's 4.3, 4.4, and you can see how much of a pin I've got left. So this part normally gets driven in and holds in place rather tightly with that key. This should slide in, and like I said, there's going to be some play, but it just has to keep it from coming apart. It's a safety thing. It's not that we're going to, like I said, we're not going to lift up on it. Nobody's going to be hanging on it or pulling on it or whatever. It's just going to be sitting there, and we have to have a way to make it safe. And I really think this is going to do the trick. Let me get it out of the collet chuck, and I'll show it to you a little closer. Here's a shot of the original pin with the new pin, and I went ahead and put the ring on the back of it. This should work fairly well. It's nice and small at the tip. You can see the difference. I ought to be able to get that started very easily. Shove it all the way in. It will be loose, but I can shove it in by hand. We'll push it all the way up to the ring. It'll hold things in place, and when we're done, we just grab the ring, pull it out, and we can disassemble the scaffolding and get it off stage in a very expedient manner. And once again, we think we'll just take a little paracord and tie this or hang this onto the scaffolding so that it's always available. I'm going to take this in Monday, see what everybody thinks about it, and if they like it, I'll make however many more we need, which I think anywhere from 3 to 11, depending on depending on the full setup. So I'll keep you guys posted. Well, that was a lot of fun. I mean, it was a super simple project, but I'm going to be honest with you, I really think that's what you need when you start learning how to use a tool. You need a very simple yet practical project. This is something that was super simple to turn, just a slight taper. I did a part on the end to take the area off where the ball bearing was. I knew it would come out as I turned it. I didn't expect it to stay in, but I did a parting cut there, a nice clean little taper, and then a little bit of filing work, a little bit of sanding work. So it was a super, super simple project to help me with the lathe. And what I learned will help me as I move forward with other projects. For example, pins, which is what I would want to turn on that lathe. Let me release the tension on that belt. There we go. So I'm really happy about that. Now I need to head into the house. My son wanted LED lights in his room. So basically, I drilled a hole in the wall right next to one of the outlets, ran the wiring up the inside of the wall and drilled a hole at the ceiling, pulled the wire through, and I ran LED lights all around his room. He's got a remote control and they can change colors and blink patterns and all that fun stuff. And it looked really, really cool. Only issue is I was worried. I told my wife, I said, whenever we put these up, when you go to take them down, the sticky is going to pull the drywall off the wall and I don't want to have to fix that. So I'll just put up crown molding. Well, the darn sticky doesn't work. These things are falling down, so I had to get some new 3M double-sided super sticky tape, and I'm going to go in now and hang them all back up. I'll keep you guys posted. Take care, and thanks for hanging out with me.